For my second video, I decided I would try to do an audio soundtrack. It's still just a slideshow featuring a previous build. If you want to know more information about that previous build, then please pause on this next screen coming up here in a few seconds. Right here. This tells you that it's a weapons carrier 52. It tells you my inspiration for it, and it tells you the kit numbers that the weapons carrier kit was, as well as the Tamiya figurines. To sum it up, I built this kit. It used to belong to my dad. He gave it to me when he sold all of his kits when he retired. I wanted this kit because we had a weapons carrier in our backyard, and it was kind of nostalgia for me. But this kit was not exactly the easiest kit to build because it was manufactured in 1974 with no updates. It was a very old kit. It had no guide pins, had some damaged parts within it, etc. So that said, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, but it was not very straightforward. So I wanted to do the 2nd Rangers thing because I live in the Pacific Northwest. The 2nd Rangers are based out of here. These are some of the figurines that I bought and painted up. 3 of them came with the kit. That's the 2 sitting down on that Sharpie marker, and then the 1 without the legs. The rest of these were in those Tamiya kits. I thought that they, for the most part, they were pretty cool. There were some of them that the detail could have been better, especially one coming up here throwing the grenade. He's a pretty horrible pose, really, but it's what you get with Tamiya. You'll notice some of these guys have varying levels of detail, like that guy right there with the BAR has some helmet straps. So does the NCO there. This guy I painted on the Jewish star, thinking he was pretty ticked. That's why he was a flamethrower operator. And I wanted to put a bullet hole in his helmet, showing that a German tried to take him out. So going on through here, just showing you the different guys, fronts and backs. These were, I didn't really do any kind of highlights or shadows. I didn't know what I was doing so much with these, so I painted the details and base colors. And then I did some dry brushing for highlights and damage and such. And then I did a wash to enhance the shadows. They came out pretty decent. I'm pleased for the most part with the detail I got in the 2nd Rangers insignia on the back of their helmets. The wash did a pretty decent job showing the shadows for me not knowing to do anything different. You know, the natural light is showing up there. So it definitely could have been worse. That guy there, I sanded down the arm to put the patch on so that it looked like it was tied against his skin. These Tamiya guys are actually pretty cool. The weapons that you can select and set them all up, you can really do some unique setups. And even if you did the same group of guys, you could change them up enough. This is the grenade thrower, that sucks. But you could change them up enough so that they didn't all have the same weapons in their hands and everything, and it would make them a little bit different. This guy came with the weapons carrier kit. I wanted to make him a major, the highest ranking officer that I had with the group. I'm pretty pleased because when I showed this diorama to a major, he recognized his own rank insignia there, so that was pretty cool. Those helmet straps are whittled down toothpicks that I then super glued in place and painted. You'll see on the 3 figures that came with the kits here, this is going into the kit, but the 3 figures that came with it were very low detail. Most of the detail you see on them, like their uniforms, I actually had to paint on, and I didn't get them as smooth as I would have liked in sanding. I don't know why I didn't go further. I kind of went overboard on the mud, but I was going for a really muddy scene. The weapons carrier I thought turned out pretty good for how bad the kit was. If you look closely at the steering wheel, you'll see that I had to cut it apart to get the driver's hands around it. And I can tell you that the kit driver's compartment is a bit small, or the figures are a bit big, because having been in one of these in my youth of my life, I can tell you it's plenty roomy for 2 guys to be sitting side by side. You would not be right up against each other like these guys are. But it was still a very fun build, and it brought back a lot of good memories. The first vehicle I ever really weathered here at all, learned a lot with it. The sag in the suspension is actually because of an improper fit. So that's why it looks like it's got a really heavy load, is because the cab and the box are not setting flush on the suspension like they should be. And you can also see the fuel stain on the right underneath the gas cap there. I was pretty pleased with some of that detail that I got put in there, since it was the first time I'd ever done any. I hand wrapped that winch cable out of picture frame wire. That weld seam there was actually a broken piece, but rather than leave it out, I just glued it back together, and then I intentionally put a little bit of melted plastic there to make it look like it was broken in a field repair. And if you know anything about welding, you know that the actual weld beads themselves don't rust, which is why I left that very bright and silvery. Here's the base. Moving on pretty quick with these here. Use the plaster cloth, and then I just use some grass. Don't worry, it won't be that straight and ugly. I did a fence with some repair work, but once I got all the vegetation on there, you can see the repair work too well. Now going into this is where I got the vegetation. I don't love the trees. I picked up that 2nd Ranger Battalion insignia down there from a military surplus location here in the Pacific Northwest. I don't love the way that grass mat laid out. I now use a static grass applicator and do it all myself. But for my first time trying to get wet mud, I thought that came out nicely. And all in all, I was pretty pleased with it. I think the trees, if I was to do it over again, I would definitely do the trees different. That's a lot of natural moss on there, as well as some Woodland Scenics products. The grasses are some tufts from Woodland Scenics. The tall grasses are that. The short grasses are tufts from Army Painter and some flowers. I did the hose on the flamethrower guy out of a piece of electrical wire because the Tamiya kit didn't come with any. This sign here, I put in this Hitler sign done by the guys, kind of showing this way to Hitler. I think I got another view coming up of that here soon. Yeah, so here I've got the Hurtgen Forest, Point du Hoc, Brest, and the This Way to Hitler. Those are the most famous battles that these guys did. And this is it for this build. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the voiceover works, and I hope you come back for more. Thank you.